What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again, and this time we are here with the Witch of the Almighty Necronomicon. Thanks for being here. It is great to have you here, man.
Awesome. And it's a little bit early, but yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes, like schedule work that way.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I like to start my day off with a little bit of darkness, and not just in the coffee, but in the music as well.
Yeah, great. Well, let's have a coffee.
Hell yeah. But it's so awesome to have you here, man. Your latest album, Eunice, is still just a masterpiece. Even though it was released in 2019, 4 years later, it's still a record that I very, very much enjoy. I want to know, I didn't get to speak to you at the very beginning of this. So, with the making of your latest album, Eunice, was there sort of like a preconceived vision of what you wanted this to sound like? Was the intention to just sort of like make a continuation of Advent of the Human God, or was Eunice meant to be like a new beginning for Necronomicon?
Actually, it's yes in a way and yes in the other way. There's always how can I say it? The big thing that is like the concept of the band itself. Everything that have like a thematic that's englobe the theme of the band, like englobe literally all the albums, like can in a way be related, but in the same way they all they're separate entity. It's super long to explain, but uh, when you pass through our discography, there's always a little something that brings this. Hey, yeah, there was something like he was talking about that. I think in Fire of Gods or whichever the album, there's always something connecting everything together. But in the same way, like I said, it's a different entity. Like, for example, just if you look at the artwork, we went from one aspect to another aspect to a painting to real pictures, digital drawing. A full Advent was a real painting, and Unus is the most simplistic of all of our album cover. It's super super basic. It's black, hand drawn because it's been doing by hand, and the rest, that's it. Everything like there's a reason for everything. Like I said, it would be super long to explain, but when people take the time to look at all the entire project of Necronomicon, they can see where it's going, and they can have actually they could probably have an idea of what's coming next.
Mhm. Well, with this whole vision and this whole aesthetic that's portrayed in Necronomicon, was this always the vision since the formation, since the Morbid Ritual demo to now, or did this vision sort of like develop over time as you put out the Silver Key EP and Pharaoh of Gods, etc.?
I actually, it was actually, believe it or not, it was the idea from the beginning, except for one thing. From the first on Morbid Ritual, there was literally the first song that I ever composed was there, and it was like all satanic stuff, like typical. I mean, I still look fondly, because the song, it's Armageddon on Morbid Ritual, and Armageddon was like kind of like a reverse, like end of the world. There's no God, there's just Satan. And it's like writing stuff when you're a teenager and you're like all Satan and inverted cross, and all that stuff. Uh, I'm not making fun of Satanism here. I think it's pretty important in our world, even if I don't consider myself a Satanist. But I mean, that's all. I just wanted to record it because it's something that I wrote literally in the 80s. And I just wanted to have it and, there. And the other songs were more serious, if I can say so. Uh, we're going there slowly, but lyrically, I was not feeling I didn't have like if I can the wisdom maybe of I didn't know exactly how to write it.
Yeah.
Talking about, so I was using a lot of like Lovecraft, like point of reference, like that raw, like really really basic, contrary to when we did the Silver Key. The story is that we had an entire album, and it was costing a lot of money to record the album. But you have to remember that at the time it was all on tape. There was no computer. It was starting. The digital recording was starting, but it was pretty basic, and we wanted to show in which direction musically we were, because I had got enough. I had enough of doing like a little bit of what I was doing back in the days, like songs like Haunting Horror and Chthonian on the Silver Key that sound more like in the morbid ritual era, because we had an entire album ready at that time. And we decided to, yeah, but I'm going to another direction. I wanted to have like, let's not slow down, but just really, really going with what I wanted to do with the atmosphere. Because like in the 80s, at the end of the 80s and beginning of the 90s, it was pretty not easy to do that. I didn't want it to have keyboards. So, it was not really easy, but I had to dump a lot of songs. We did the Silver Key, and they said, okay, the Silver Key, people gonna understand what really we're going like lyrically, musically. That was really the opening of everything that is today, Necronomicon today. Uh, not that I wanted to be mainstream, yeah, but it was a little bit more, melodic, less like square and,
Yeah, of course. I mean, like with,
with
with with every album that you've made, because I felt like every Necronomicon album is like not just a musical experience where you could sit back and enjoy, but it is one of those. You are one of those bands where I want to dabble into like the literature or the imagery that is inspired through your music. And I'm just wondering, like, have you always needed to hear music? Did you always prefer for Necronomicon to have like a whole musical composition present before you were able to decide what each song was going to be about, or did you always have a concept in mind and that guided your hand with regard to the music?
Actually, it's a mix of both. It's kind of like I'm focusing on said, okay, I'm going. Let's say I finish Unus like era, uh, and I know that it kind of opened the door to the continuation. So I'm looking through that door. So there's already a path there,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like different, doors at the end of the path.
Mm-hmm.
So each door is one of the song.
Okay. Do you feel like each album in the Necronomicon catalog is almost like cinematic to the point where, like, if I wanted to get the concept of Honest, should I listen to Advent of the Human God before that, and I should listen to Rise of the Elder Ones before that, and the Return of the Witch?
Necessarily,
Okay.
not necessarily. Uh, it could be done, but one doesn't like, like it's really not necessary. Of course, it's if you listen to a really an album like Pharaoh of God or Secret Medicine that have really really stronger like thematic, like some songs are really Egyptians, like for example Akhenaten, the daring one, uh, and you have the actual sacred medicine songs that have native chanting in it, on the sacred medicine. These songs represent really something really specific about the title and something we're pointing more at. But at the same time, if you look at Unus, songs like The Thousand Masks, it's part three of Her of God,
Mm-hmm.
you know So Pharaoh of Gods in 19 well, it was recorded in 97. It's been released in 1999, but it was like something really specific, really cryptic. We did a part two in on Return of the Witch, I think. I'm not sure. And with the Thousand Mask is like the final of it. So it's like it's a little bit more, all the other stuff are there, and now we have like the again the opening that that open the door that open.
What
It's
I
like the completion. Yeah.
Well, what I love about the Necronomicon catalog is that you have all these different elements that one could explore and they can become one with the band. But I felt like your music could also become one with the listener, where the listener can almost kind of create their own sort of a storyline around it. Do you think that maybe
Yes. Yes.
when you release something and listeners are able to digest it and interpret it, that a listener's experience maybe adds more context to the work that was already there?
Probably. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, I don't. Of course, I'm not like talking every day with people telling me like, yeah, this I wasn't, seeing that or envision that. Like, you know, I'm not going. I'm pretty recluded. I'm living in my bubble and stuff. I don't meet a lot of people. So, but it happened that people's like, yeah, I wrote. I was getting into the lyrics and reading that, and I when you say that it means this and that. I mean, I'm like, okay. Like, yeah. So, well, if how understand it, that's fine with you. I mean, everyone have to each and everyone understand what they have to understand on what is written. But what I mean myself, when I'm writing the lyrics, sometimes it sounds it you read it and it's like nothing. It's like, okay, what, it's really simple. But when you look at the context on everything, it's when you see just that sentence usually means way more than just the words.
I could describe.
It have to be taken in a context.
I could describe Necronomicon in many, many ways. Simple is not one of them. I could tell you that much.
Oh, and it's funny because a lot of people think it's like, yeah, look, your lyrics are really simple. I said, yeah, they are to a certain level.
Wink, wink. You're right.
Yeah, it's like some people don't get it. It's like, yeah, I could, yeah, just like write like, I don't know, occult term, whatever, mathematics or whatever. I mean, that's personally, I think it's beginner stuff. You
Definitely.
just want to show off like your occult knowledge of like that you learn in a book. Uh, the lyrics on Necronomicon are more about real stuff. It's tangible. It's there. It's something that's you live. It's not something that is just like for I don't know, like writing like a soap opera or something like that. It's something that you can live, you can experience.
Well, you led me perfectly into this next question, actually, because when you are, like, when you are bringing in these ritualistic and occult and, like these natural elements of history and literature into your music, but, it is also very personal, obviously. Do you feel like, does your personal life and your personal experiences, do you ever express that in a direct way through Necronomicon, or do you prefer to use music as more of like an escapism from your own personal life?
I'm not usually. I'm not really using that as an escape. There's some personal stuff, yes, of course. Like, yeah, as an example, I'm going to take again sacred medicine. I decided to do sacred medicine because like my mom's second husband was like into native shamanism and stuff like that, and they'd been together for a very long time, and I was still a kid when it was like my second father. It's not my real father, but it's pretty much the guy who raised me. So, I learned to you know all that shamanic aspect of native people. Even myself, I'm not native at all. I have blue eyes and I'm white like the snow outside right now here. Uh, so yeah, it's so that part was like for me sharing uh, some stuff that I know, some explanation of some like growing up, like ritual, being in contact of like some aspect of like the animal people, what we call animal native people call the animals. It's like it's not animals as animal people. They're people,
Yeah.
you know. They're part of the creation of the Wakatanka, the great mystery. So that's a personal. That was a big personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's a little bit of that in every album, yeah, but it's like, for example, like the Return of the Witch. Actually, that was the funny part. Is the title is totally not related to
Yeah,
me.
I was gonna ask that.
It's totally not. It just like happened like that. It's an album that talk about femininity, the power of femininity. That a lot of people have lost the power of femininity. The power of femininity is not like related. I'm saying femininity. It's not related to a sexual thing. It's like the power of the moon. It's to be in contact with the sensitive side, the emotional side. That it's something that you can feel the energy, and vibrate with it. And a lot of that has been lost
Mm-hmm.
for the regular people, everybody, regular people. Yeah,
Yeah.
if I say that. Uh, but it's kind of a return to that energy, that we're calling witches, and like people that were burning, that these people that were in touch with the cosmos, with with the universe, and that's been galvanized by the Christianity and religions, and that's the movement to return to that energy, the witch energy,
Mm-hmm. Well,
that was like branded as a witch.
mhm. Well, going by the witch, I ask every musician that has this sort of alias that they go by, because when you go by the witch, is this like almost a character in a way that you portray in Necronomicon? Is it another? Is it an alter ego of Rob Tremblay in a way, or do you feel like do you portray somebody very different from who you personally are, or is it just a direct extension of who you personally are?
Well, when I'm first, I didn't give myself that name. It's been given to me
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s by some people here in Montreal. When I moved to Montreal, because like I was really into shamanism and occultism and stuff like that. So I had my rituals and stuff that I was doing. One day, someone. I was not living in Montreal when the actual event happened. There's someone like from Montreal, from the industry, came and it was like, yeah, you can crash on my place, blah blah blah. And he said that during the night, he woke up, there was smoke everywhere, there was weird smells, and he was hearing voices. And he said it's really freaked him out. Like, so, and he was telling that story. So one day I was back when I moved to Montreal. He was having like a kind of gathering with people. I remember the guys from Suffocation were there actually, and and I went there and he opened the door and it was like, oh, here comes a witch, and I was like, what? And I was like, yeah, and my manager at the time said, "Oh, that's cool, man. That's a cool name." And me, I was like, kind of okay. I'm not sure it's an insult or, but it stayed. So it stayed like that. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So it went some variant now. Like some people call me Witch King, or because they think that that's related to Tolkien, but it's not. So that's kind of a little bit, that's the story. But no, it's not. It's an extension. It's a part of me. But I just have to not take my med for a few days, and I'm becoming the witch. No, no, I'm kidding. So
With
no,
the
it's just it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind.
of course, when
It's
it
like
well, with the spiritual energy that you bring into Necronomicon and the occultism that's incorporated in there, like we've seen a lot of tribal and ritualistic. What most famous example will probably be Sepultura's Roots, but we've seen it in black metal with bands like Cult of Fire, how they sing about like Hinduism and Buddhism in their sounds. For you, like when you are cultivating this energy, but you're working on a song for a relatively long period of time, do you almost have, is it like an extra obstacle to sort of hold on to that energy that initially created the idea?
not really. Actually, I don't work very long on the songs. When I'm writing songs, it's like I sit down and I write the song. and that's it. It's done. Uh, when the time come to do it, it's as simple as that. It's like I hear it. It's there. It's just like okay, it's there. So I sit down, write my music, and that's it.
Does
That's as simple as that.
do you seek
There's
out
no
that?
like work like for hours. There's like okay, I need to find the chords. No, everything is in there, and I just play it, and it's done.
Do you seek out that creative energy? Do you almost go out and look for it, or does the inspiration just strike when you least expect it?
It just comes when it's ready. I
Really?
don't look for it.
Is there ever a time though where like because with all these different elements that there's maybe like research that's involved? Are you almost like looking at other mediums of art as part of your songwriting process, whether it would be in literature or visual art or film?
Not really, actually. No, I've been watching animes for like 25 years.
Hell
Like
yeah.
for a period in my life, I was only watching animes and funny ones, not like violent one. Uh, I was just watching funny stuff and like goofy stuff and just laughing, and that was kind of like my life. Having a couple of beer and chips or wings and like watching animes like a freaking otaku, and and not doing much more than that. I'm watching a little bit less of it now. Like I'm open to other stuff. Uh, I'm really weird with cinema and stuff like that, so it doesn't stick much with the band. I like a lot Japanese movie,
Hmm. Yeah, I
you
mean,
know.
there
So
anime is awesome. Anime is amazing. I just love because anime, regardless if it's a funny one or a violent anime, a dramatic anime, whatever. Like I think in the end, there's just a common aesthetic where you just equally enjoy it. I think like regardless
yeah,
of the emotion that you what you see is what you get with anime, and that's something that I find
yeah.
extraordinary.
I mean, I saw animes for the first time in 1978, and I got hooked, literally. And uh, after that, in the 80s, and especially in the 90s, beginning of the 90s, it was really hard to find here in Canada. It was really hard to find. And suddenly there's been an explosion. I was so happy. But I started literally watching anime. I was a kid. So,
Before it
yeah.
was cool. Before it was cool.
Yeah, before it was cool. Well, it was already cool in Japan, but, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. You started doing black metal in Canada before it was cool, and you started watching anime in Canada before it was cool. I think you are the prophet and
Yeah,
nobody's
well,
listening.
we didn't know about black metal or stuff like. For us, it was just metal. It was like Celtic Frost and Venom, and black metal was a title of an album. That's how it was. And when I started doing my music, I was listening to like Sodom and Creator also. It was not just like you know. So reading magazine or everything was like just like Metallica and Anthrax and stuff like that. And I was like, where are the fucking monsters? Where are fucking Bathory? Where they were never talking about these guys. So I had the chance to be in contact with that through someone, and I heard Elhammer, and I heard like Bathory, the first Bathory, and the cool band was Slayer, but before LOH, when they were, is it before or after? I don't remember when they did like the plates. They did we're calling that a plate back in the days.
Was it
It
before or
was
after
like a
Show
mini
No
album
Mercy?
on vinyl that was haunting the
Oh,
chapel.
Haunting the Chapel, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and before that, I didn't like Slayer. Show No Mercy, I didn't get me. Like Metallica, Kill 'Em All didn't get me. I was like, yeah, it's cool, but I don't know. It's like something's missing.
Are you more
You
of a
know,
load and reload guy?
a what?
A load or reload or Black Album guy?
No, no.
Okay, I had to put that joke in there. I'm sorry.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Reload and reload. I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
And I remember that there was a. I'm a Saint Anger. I'm a Saint Anger guy.
Oh, really? I thought more Lulu.
Lulu. Oh, I didn't heard that.
You,
I didn't heard that.
you're and do
But
yourself a favor, don't.
yeah,
But the newest
yeah, I
Metallica
heard.
stuff is
I've
awesome.
been told that's horrible. Yeah. No, no. Kill 'Em All when they came out, I didn't get me at all. It was like it's cool, but like Slayer was the same thing. Show No Mercy, it's cool, but
See,
Metallica was cool when it was Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppet. That was cool.
I think
You
to each his own. Like
And
it's all subjective. Everybody like people
yeah,
when I talk to old school metalheads and I tell them that I about the stuff that I grew up with. I was born in '93, so I grew up with a different type of metal and everything like that, and like they think it's like
yeah.
sacrilege, but everybody has their own pathway to metal, which is what I think makes it unique.
But it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's like it's from your era. Myself from that time, I like better Judas Priest. I'm a big Judas Priest, like, screaming for vengeance and all that stuff. That was freaking good. And I was more into Venom and like all Satan stuff.
Of
So
course.
uh,
I see inspirations from both in it. I see that in Necronomicon actually, because when I listen to Necronomicon, I don't consider it just it's not a Mayhem or Emperor or Dark Throne
no,
sort of like style. I
no,
see a lot of
I
this.
didn't know these bands.
Yeah,
I didn't know these bands. I mean, even when they came out, I didn't never heard about. Actually, I can't tell. I don't know any songs of Mayhem or Dark Throne or any. I don't know shit about these guys. I know the band names and that's it. That's all I know. I didn't know about Demu, about Cradle until I played with them. I didn't know about these guys.
that's a hell of a way to discover
We
them.
were. I was living in the mountains, and there was nothing. There was nothing there. So I took leather and put like some nails and you know and we had bones on the mics and like blood on our jeans with inverted cross and was doing that and what for us we're doing a little bit like trying to do a little bit like Celtic for us.
Yeah,
That was the big thing for us.
yeah. Check out this black metal band if you want to see something weird. Life
Life
Lover.
lover.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They're quite unique. I'm curious to what maybe
Okay.
your take on
But
them.
I don't listen much of uh new whatever stuff.
Oh, they're
I'm
not
still
new.
listening to
Yeah,
Motherhead every day.
yeah. They're not
ZZ
new.
Top
They're not
and
new.
stuff.
They've
Okay, they're not new.
yeah
Okay.
they've been broken up for decades now. So who knows? Maybe a hidden gem for you.
Oh, okay.
But the final question I wanted to ask you is actually going to the Necronomicon live show and kind of your concepts as well, because when you're playing a live show, you gotta make a set list that consists of many of your different albums. Maybe you started with a Pharaoh of the God song, and then a couple Unis songs, and then Evan of the Human God. So when you like shuffle around your set list and bring in songs from different eras, does that maybe bring a new layer of meaning to the songs as well, or put you through multiple spaces in time?
On that aspect, not really. Except if we have like how can I say it, like to put like a break somewhere. We're gonna like some songs we know they're more brutal on the picking and stuff. It's like, okay, Mom, I might go out of tune, that we put an intro there so we'll have time to tune. But beside that, not really, actually, to be honest. And I never really participate in the set list, so I throw it on my bass player. So it's like, hey, do a set list, whatever.
You trust, that's us. You got some good trust in you, man. I could never do that. Like I would be looking over everybody's shoulder as they make a set list.
No, no, no. I mean, my guys are pretty awesome. So, these guys that I have right now are pretty much the best I ever had. I trust my bass player. He did this last set of the last tour. Well, it's already a while. It's been a while already now.
Yeah.
Time fly. And on November when we went on the road, it was the same. He took care of that. I watch it and I'm like, yeah, maybe we should change this and that. It's like, oh yeah, okay, and that's pretty much it.
Mm,
But he's pretty much the guy
mm,
taking care of the set list.
yeah. And
Well,
with your diehard fans, if you left them in charge of the set list, they'd want like every unreleased demo deep cut that like we can't find anywhere. So
well, already there's like like Secret Medicine is really hard to find. It's really really hard to find, but we're gonna re-release it this year.
Oh, is that
So
announced? Was
yeah,
okay? It was
it's
announced.
we're already working on it at the moment. We you know, a lot of people like to remaster and remix, and sometimes it killed the feeling of the era, you know.
Hmm.
And when we re-released the special edition of Pharaoh of God last year, uh, first we couldn't mix it because we don't have the tape anymore. So, and when we wanted to do vinyls, I said the album is too long because like a vinyl, yeah, it's over an hour. So they was said because of digital time, CDs there's no limit. So on vinyl, you had a certain limit. It was like 30 minutes, I think, per side. I'm not sure, or something like that, 25. I don't remember. But it said we can't do it. So you're gonna have to do two, but now it's gonna be too short, and it's gonna, and we're like, okay, you know what? We're gonna do a digipack, and it went really well. I mean, there was we did only 100 of them, and then we sold it like in 24 hours, I think, 40, something like that. And we decided to say, yeah, well, people still want it, so we made more. So made more of them, and now we're selling it. I think our label is selling it now. Yeah,
Hell yeah!
Season of Mist.
Shout out to them.
But yeah, that's the news for this year. This, of course, the show's coming that I can't. They're not announced yet, so I can't. You know. But yeah, I can say that Secret Medicine is going to be re-released this year. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it again. Thank you so much, everybody. We are here
And
with.
it's the artwork has been revamped because it looked like all pixeled, and it's really like 2000 something. So it's all been revamped by Simon Bussard that's working with us since Return of the Witch. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty great. Actually, I'm pretty excited about it.
I can't wait. I can't wait. And I can't wait to expose that amazing album to more people. I don't think they know what's coming to them. Thank you so much, everybody. We are here with
All
The
good, man.
Witch of Necronomicon. Be sure to be on the lookout for the re release of The Sacred Medicines and check out their latest album, Honest. If you haven't already, we will see you next time on Heavy New York.